Hey, what's going on YouTube? It's Bebop here. Today's video is going to be about Savage M3s, and we're going to talk a little bit about M3s in general. Now, why would you ever want to run a M3? Well, there's no reason to right now.
What? You heard me. What?
Unfortunately, the loot is still 700 max gear based, and there's nothing else you really need. Now there's the mutation dust that you can get. You can get 1 for a silver M3. You can get 4 for a gold. You can save up till you get 40, and then you can craft a box that has junk in it that you won't want to use. It's Gorgonite gear. It won't have Enchanted Ward or Elemental Version really unless you get super lucky, but from out of all the chests that I've seen that people have sent me in Discord, it is not worth it, and AGS will look at that going into Season 8 and hopefully bring out what I think they should do is do something like what they did with the beta coconuts. Something that's actually a really good reward, because over the years AGS has not given out the best loot in the game or rewards, and when they took binding on equip away from us when we were able to do M1 through 10s, well, that kind of ruined the market for a lot of us speed and score runners that basically log in to do M10 runs or M3 runs. Now let's talk about Savage M3. Well, this week is Fire and Frenzy, and the enemies are explosive. So the other mutations are Lazarus and Barnacles. Those both have a lot of mobs, and with a lot of mobs with explosive, you don't want that problem because you'll be bounced around, you will die quickly and easily, and in a dungeon like Savage where there's not many mobs, that's where you want to be at. It's going to be a lot easier for you. The first boss in Savage is really simple.
Everything that guy just says is bullshit. Thank you.
When you learn how to play it, and the last boss is, it can be challenging, okay? That boss is really challenging with Frenzy, but if you play it correctly with a really good team and you understand the fight, it will help you get through that a lot of times a lot easier than just with some random group. If you're going with a random group, good luck with the final boss in Savage M3. I mean, good luck, man.
60% of the time, it works. Every time.
Because the visuals aren't really there. We all know about the visual issues here in New World for Season 7. And it doesn't look like it's going to be fixed anytime soon. Now, with Savage, we are doing score runs, speed runs. You really need a crew that's used to working together. But right here, you see me getting all the gatherables I can. In this dungeon, a musket with accelerated traps is biz for everybody, okay? And maybe not the healer, I guess, but I mean, really for everybody for movement from one area to another. The tank, our tank is using it here, Harmonious. He's one of the best tanks in New World. We have really good healer, and we also have really good DPS here. And what you want to do is use that trap. We'll give you 5 seconds of, I think, 32% movement speed. And that way you can throw 2 of them down and get to moving. Now, you want to catch up, because if you're in charge of getting the gatherables, then you will be behind the fight a lot here. As you will see, I'm trying to constantly catch up to the group. And even when we used to do our speed runs, if you had to get a gatherable or whatnot, or in this position, you will be trying to play catch up. You need to be as fast as you can. In this, you basically load out if you want to. Whoever's getting all the gatherables in a score run right here, they could go ahead and have a amulet with, you know, whatever protection with alacrity or the wing boots set up, and that way they can catch back up, and right before they get into the fight, they can easily just switch right back to their main DPS set, and that way they can go ahead and spend a lot less time running and just, you know, you don't see a fight for like 3 minutes until you catch up to the group. Now, that would be a lot extra and going to the extra step, but if you want to get up to the big leagues and get to where you're speed running or score running, that is what you'll do. In a lot of mutation runs, it's not uncommon at all for us to have, you know, 4 or 5 different sets to get through a dungeon, and that way we can easily switch to whatever set we need to get to, you know, max out whatever the situation may be.
Yo, what?
Man, keep going, bruh. Man, keep it moving, shit. That's some bullshit, bruh.
Now, what you saw right there was a Fire Blast, the explosive enemy that dealt over 6,700 something damage. It was a lot of damage for one explosion. So you can just imagine in a mob heavy dungeon how hard fire plus explosive is at this level. It is very difficult. We are all maxed out with 50% fire protection. You will have 2 open slots to put whatever other gems you want. I do the Punishing Carnelians for extra melee damage against taunted enemies and extra melee damage against taunted foes. So you can feel free to do what you want. In the boss fights, you will need to go full opals. In the first boss fight, normally if it's not frenzy, you would go with a nature amulet, because the nature part of that boss fight is the worst, and anytime he jumps straight to the nature glyph, you want to get that as fast as you can when it becomes active, because that is the worst one to try to fight against. Now, if you are basically in frenzy, what we are here, I just keep my fire amulet on, and that way I'm protected from dodging. All my other gear will be opals, and that way I'm protected from all the elements as much as possible. Now, you cannot be protected from everything to the max, so you will just have to try to focus on leeching and healing up when you can and not getting hit by moves. Now, what you want to do in this first boss fight, there are 4 glyphs. As we enter, to our left is nature, to the little more left at the top it would be ice, fire straight ahead, and lightning would be to the right when you enter. He's gonna pick one of the elements to jump to first. When he jumps there, he's gonna activate that glyph. It will go live in about, I think it's like 30 to 45 seconds after he comes over here, and he's activated with the buff of whatever element. This one's the lightning. It will take a lot of your stamina. If you're behind the enemy, that ball will not hit you. If you're out there in the field, you'll need to watch for him throwing that, landing, it going in a straight line, and then they will wrap around the outer edges of the arena. That slam, you need to time it and dodge it. You can riposte it if you have evade rapier set up. What you want to do is be in melee. Everybody needs to be in melee, and yes, healers too, because if the healer is far away out there in left field, left clicking, doing something that you shouldn't be doing at this level, then the boss will charge all the way to the healer, and it will just take a lot more time and cause more issues. If you have people with the boon set up and you're doing more damage and you're able to fry how we are here, then you can get through a lot of this boss fight without even worrying about all the elements and, you know, disarming them and then getting in the circles. Let's say we didn't burn through the boss right there and we disarm the lightning glyph. Well, then a lightning circle will appear on the ground, and what that person, whoever disarmed the glyph, what they will need to do is go into the circle. That way it disarms the circle, gets rid of it off of the arena floor. That way no one's taking damage from it, and then you can move on. And that's what you would have to do for each of those elements. Now, right here, what we did, we're trying out a little bit of new strategy here. I told the guys to go left where they normally go, and I told one of our DPS to go ahead and get the flower that they normally shoot. But instead of jumping down, wasting time, I just thought, okay, I'll come over here and get this flower. But trying to find a spot that's really safe to do it, I believe this is the best spot right here. So that way, next time I come over here, I can do this with you being on the ledge to my right where I'm looking right now. If you get hit by the rocks, they will knock you down now into the water, so you don't want to do that. So finding a new spot, this one seemed to work really well, and you're perfectly protected. Now you can just jump over and get going and catch back up to the group. And now if you have a fire staff, you can kill that flower a lot easier. It is an angry earth flower, so it will do some good damage to you, but hey, just drink a potion, you should be all right. Now right here, I'm gonna do some shots real quick, try to get some dots going, and that way we can open the door and get moving. Now, I did not expect for this to happen. Bo, where you going, Bebop? Oh, geez.
Nobody saw nothing.
Dude. Now, you want to get in that spore cloud right there, and if you have the boon potions, like I do, like I will do 18% more damage for 2 minutes while that, you know, after I went through the spore. And that's going to help us burn through a lot of the enemies really quickly. Now, this pool coming up over here is 2 named, and it will be flannic, so you will not be able to shoot from a distance, so range will not work at times until the shields are down. So your best bet is to go ahead and get in melee. Watch out for the double name fire, because hot dang it's hot, man. So you want to maybe have stalwart Heartstorm or Firestorm on you. And then that way you can go ahead and kick that when the named fire hits, and that way you won't be taking much damage from it after that. And you just sit there and hopefully you Leeching Flurry using the best perk in the game your way out of it, especially if you're evade or bleed. If you're a spear, you're gonna have to be very careful, and I would highly suggest in this mutation type, not in the dungeon alone, but in this mutation type, that you probably want to have Leeching Cyclone over the Bleeding Sweep. You don't want to get stuck up in animation in the air and on this fire. The named fire will just destroy you so fast, no matter even if you're full protected. So you want to have some sort of good quick leeching, and Leeching Cyclone would be it. Now, I believe it'd probably be enough on the clothing to be beneficial. If you need it on the spear for this certain mutation type, then feel free to go ahead and adjust. Now right here, I'm gonna go ahead and just get some shots and some dots on the enemies, and then I'm gonna grab the ball and hut, let's go. You need to watch out for these gorillas that spawn up above where I just grabbed the ball, because sometimes they will jump down. It's a named one and then just a regular one, and they will hit you, make you drop the ball, and they can do some serious damage. If the named lion gets the fire procced on you, you saw how much health that takes, and it can burn you really quick, so watch out. I'm gonna sit here, Bob's gonna dot it up, and then we're gonna go ahead and get the ball raising so we can get across the bridge. The musket's so good at burst damage. As you can see here, I quickly just hit the power shot and then the powder burn, and that way I can get the bleeds and the burns going, and then I can just sit there and do damage while I'm away. And it's gonna be at about a 2,000 tick, all right? It's gonna be like 1,000 for the powder burn, and then, you know, an 800-900 or whatever for the bleed. Now here we are on another name. You want to try to melt this guy down as quick as possible, and right now with the visual glitches going, you need to listen up for the fire a lot of times in this mutation, because you will not see the visual cue, and you need to know when it's about to explode. So you'll hear the explosion winding up, and then boom, it's gonna burst, and you need to be able to dodge it. DPS, immediately jump on this gorilla to the right. I throw a frisbee right at him. We go ahead and get him rended up and bleeding, and then we go ahead and melt him down there. The traps will do 20% rend if you hit an enemy with them, and then that way that's going to help you mow them down really quickly. Now with these mammoths, what you want to do is pull them all around the corner to where we're going. That way you can kill them all together really quickly. There's no point of fighting these individuals. DPS, take out the gorillas over here to the left so they don't attack the healer once the healer starts throwing heals. And that way the tank can just focus on the mammoths, and the healer doesn't have to worry about getting ran up on by some gorillas. Now for some reason that mammoth turned around, but that's okay. We have good players that can handle the situation. We're not going to freak out and yell for the tank, because the tank is busy. You need to try to help the tank and not just rely on a tank pulling for you. So we know that we have the enemy behind us. We might take some damage. We're going to try to melt as many as we can down before the other one comes up. When the other one comes up, we want to try to rotate. That way the tank can easily pick up the mammoth if needed to. Our tank did a great job on that. And then we just adjust and get behind this mammoth and start melting away. It is very important for you to try to play all roles at times, so you can kind of understand from each individual perspective, from the healer perspective and the tank perspective, what each one goes through, and why you don't just need to freak out and yell for tank to aggro. It is really annoying if you're a tank and people just freak out and don't know what to do. As a good DPS player, you need to know how to bring the enemies to the tank, and you need to know how to just, you know, acquiesce to the situation and don't panic and handle it, okay? Because you're gonna get aggro on mobs. It's impossible for the tank to hold aggro 100% of the time, all the time. You need to, you know, learn how to deal with it and stop complaining. Now we're going to carry this ball over here to the last door that we're going to open here before we go to the boss fight, the last boss fight. There's going to be a mammoth and 2 other enemies, and what you're going to do is pull those other enemies, usually the healer will, right through this mammoth, and by the time we kill the mammoth, the other 2 enemies are coming up. The tank will aggro, and then we can just melt them really quickly. It's the quickest way to do it, so pay attention. The healer's going to pull. Sometimes the tank will actually be the one that wants to pull, so it's depending on whatever your, you know, tank wants to do. And then we just simply melt just like that. Simple, easy, let's go. Now there's 2 gypsum orbs to mine here. They're basically sandstone pieces right there, but they give you a gypsum orb. So make sure you save those for the healer and tank, okay? The healer should get one and the tank should get the other. Do not be greedy, okay? They're doing the roles that you don't want to do. Let them have that at the end. Be nice and let them have their reward. Now, here we are. Watch out for that void ball dropping right on us. This stomp will knock you. Do not try to block it. You need to dodge it. The fire will hit right here. You need to dodge that also. If everybody can stay close, the mammoth will not be running around like, you know, forever. You need to have the healer up close, even if they're not DPSing. And you need to watch out for those conduits spawning right there. They used to be on a 3-second tick. So when they would come up, it'd be like 1, 2, boom. They would then hit. Now it's a 1.5 to 3 seconds. It's a weird timing. I don't know why they, I guess, can't fix it, or maybe it's intended to be like that now. Not really sure, but it is what it is. So you need to be careful. Try to use your grid abilities or block or get out of there when the conduit's spawning on you. When the lightning spawns, you need to hold block so everybody can block it, so you don't have the lightning debuff and everybody's just getting chain lightning, because that will kill you quick. If you have Leech and Flurry, you can stay here in the ice and keep leeching through it. You should be just fine. If there's a lot of fire spawning like that,
Brandon.
and then the stomp, hey, you know, stuff can get kind of wild and crazy. But you want everybody to be close. You don't want this mammoth running around and everybody having to chase and all these elements having more time to spawn all over the place. When you see a conduit spawn, you need to take it out quickly because it will empower the boss. And if you don't take it out quickly, you'll have the ice that will spread a lot bigger than the original circle, or you'll have the laser of doom hit you, the arcane laser, which is so vicious and devastating. In this boss fight, oh my god, the sound of it plus the damage it does is brutal. Now, you used to be able to run straight at it and you really wouldn't take damage. Now I feel like the laser, doesn't matter what you do, you're taking damage. All right, you got to hide behind these conduits, or you just try to leech and flurry your way through it. If you have a great sword, then you can use Calamity, but yeah, it's brutal. But that was our run right there. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully you learned a little something. Hopefully it was in depth enough. If you need more in-depth guide or anything else, just feel free to let me know. I'm going to try to get one of Laz and Barnacles also. It's a very tough week to do it, so it might be a little bit later on. I do have some old speedrun videos. Just check through the old files. But we threw this team together. We ended up getting 3rd in the region or whatnot on US East. Rosa in score and timing, but we really weren't trying to do either except for, I guess, score, because we were killing all the mobs and we're just having fun. There's a bunch of us guys that miss running M3s. We got together and just, you know, had some fun runs. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed it. Hopefully, you know, you're getting into M3s, and if you want to know anything else, you can join my community Discord. Message me anytime. I'll jump in a public chat with you and just go over your gear if you have any questions, and then we'll go from there. Thank you very much. Y'all have a wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next video. Later. All right, let's look at the gear that I was using in the Savage Divide run. In case you were interested, I was going with the blue boon potion, strong boon Artemis potion, and it's going to last 60 minutes overall. But you deal 18% more damage when and gain increased loot from creatures in Elysian Wilds for 120 seconds, so 2 minutes. Now, when you enter a sport cloud in the Savage Divide, that's when it will kick in. It will only last 2 minutes, so it's not the greatest. The gold one obviously would be, with a 27% increase in damage for 4 minutes. But if you're interested in getting these, you can go down to Savage or Elysian Wilds, and there's a mission here at the Last Light. It's right by the Arcane Center. Basically, you're gonna come over here, you're gonna get some spores, and you're gonna go right back over here, turn it in, and then craft it at the Arcane Repository. All right, so you will need some materials to upgrade them, and it's not cheap, but that I have another video for that if you look into the past videos for the boon potions. Now, not the greatest gear, but Enchanted Ward, Refreshing in Health, 725. Crafted that earlier, I believe, on this character. Let's see, Enchanted Ward. I have the Punishing Karn in here, so I didn't want to change that. Going Noble Coat, obviously, being Bleed Rape here. Enchanted Ward refreshing health would be better than Empowering Breaker. Powering Breaker's useless, so it's really a 1-perker. I have Leech and Flurry on this piece with Enchanted Ward refreshing. Enchanted Ward and health here on this piece. Disdain Infliction, should I even go over that? And then right here on this first set, which is a dungeon set, not the boss set, it will be Disdain Infliction, Accelerating Traps, and Keenly Jagged. Accelerating Traps, 33% movement speed, 5 seconds after deploying a track, does not stack. Traps apply a bleed for 5 seconds, 16% weapon damage. And then you got KJ, which, whatever, but basically it's movement, okay? You want to be quick. I use the Stalwart. You can use Cunning if you want, but I was trying out the in the name fire. If you use this, how much would it take away the fire burn? It seemed to work really well, but if you can manage your health pretty easily in the named, if you have enough weakening or whatnot, and you kill the enemies quick enough, then you can go with Cunning, would be better for overall damage. Now, Flame Protection, Empowered, and Health, this dropped from the Hive earlier for me, so hey, I can't complain about that. Leeching, Thrust Damage, and Hardy. I have Healthy Toast, Refreshing, and Refreshing Toast, just to get some more, ways to, get some health, because, man, that fire is burning hot, and you got Frenzy, so dots are always on your back. For the second set, you need all opals, basically, because you are fighting the bosses that do a lot of different elemental damage. Now, it's not elemental version you need. You still need a Chain of Ward, because all the attacks are coded light and heavy attacks, not elemental damage, which would be light or magic ranged attacks, okay? So, in this set, I have Enchanted Ward. It's a 1-perker. Nimble Coat. Enchanted Ward, 1-perker. Enchanted Ward and Leeching Flurry. Enchanted Ward is basically another 1-perker. So not the best gear, as you can see. Accelerated Traps, Vorpal. I need to get a different one with Accelerated Traps and, Vicious or something like that, just to replace this. But I like how it's Intelligence here, so it can keep my stats the same with the 2 sets. And then I have this Arcane Protection Ammy. Now, I did switch it out for my Fire Ammy because dodging around, the fire dots are really burning. But, Arcane's really good to have in that last boss fight, too, because that laser just hurts like hell, dude. So, choose which one you want to go with. I don't mind a little con when it's Frenzy Week in this last boss fights. I'm 50 con, as you can see here, for the last boss. And then in the first set, I'm 19 con for the dungeon. But for the final boss or whatnot, the first boss, you don't need any con. But the second boss is just a little bit crazy right now. So, that's what I got. Leeching, Thrust, and Hardy. And then right here, Refreshing Toast, Nimble, Duplicating Toast. Okay, I need to be able to heal as much as possible. So that's pretty bis in my opinion right there. Let's go with the attributes. So like I said, on my first boss set, 25 to 11, 355, 25 focus, 19 con. Okay, when I switch to my second set, I am 25 strength, 172 dex, 350 int, 25 focus, 50 con. So there is some loss of damage here, but hey, the extra con, well, my food's not active, I don't believe. Okay, it is active. But yeah, so there is a loss of damage here, but hey, you can stay in the fight a little bit. You're just fine. That last boss is pretty crazy. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed the video. And if you have any more questions or concerns, feel free to leave them in the comments. I answer all the comments back. You can find me streaming on Twitch and YouTube about 3 or 4 times a week. Usually Tuesdays, Fridays, Saturday. What the heck? Tuesday, Friday, Saturdays, and then maybe Sundays here and there. Feel free to ask me any questions in Discord if you're in the community Discord, and I'll answer back. All right. Y'all have a great rest of the day. See you later.